During his visit to El Salvador on Monday, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele had offered to jail criminals deported from the US in the country's CECOT prison, also known as the mega prison. Bukele wrote on X that we have offered the United States of America the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system. The fee would be relatively low for the US but significant for us, making our entire prison system sustainable. Rubio described the offer as very generous. Interestingly, Bukele even expressed willingness to house American prisoners in his X post. Trump emphasized that he is eager to move forward with the plan if legally permissible. He said, and I quote, "I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat." Now, before we get to the prison system in the US, let me tell you who is Nayib Bukele and what's the mega prison he is talking about. President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele has built his reputation on an aggressive anti-crime strategy. Calling himself the coolest dictator and a philosopher king, he has gained huge public support by cracking down on gang violence. In February 2023, El Salvador opened what it claims to be Latin America's largest prison, the Terrorism Confinement Center, CECOT. It is designed to hold up to 40,000 prisoners and primarily detains gang members from groups like MS-13 and Barrio 18. According to the World Prison Brief, El Salvador has the highest incarceration rate in the world, with 1,659 prisoners per 1 lakh residents. But did you know the US is not far behind? Despite making up only 4% of the world's population, the US holds 20% of the world's prisoners. Since 1970, the incarcerated population in the US has increased by 500%. Around 2 million people are in US prisons today. So, why are we talking about US prisons and Bukele's offer? Because Donald Trump has already begun a crackdown on illegal immigration, and US is among the few countries that has private prisons. So it is not a surprise then that the stock prices of private prison companies are rising steadily. As of June 2023, there were 158 private prisons in the US operating in 30 states, and as of year end 2022, 90,873 people were in private prisons. These contract prisons in the USA are operated by 3 major private corporations: CoreCivic, GEO Group, and Management and Training Corporation. Since the 2024 election, GEO and CoreCivic stock prices have skyrocketed by 105% and 50% respectively. It's a clear sign that Wall Street sees big profits these private prisons stand to gain. So, when in 2017, when the Trump administration reversed Obama's decision renewing contracts for the federal inmates in private prisons, the GEO Group secured a $110 million contract for a new detention center. Furthermore, contracts with government agencies include per diem rates for each prisoner, making incarceration a lucrative business. Private prison companies across the US are also known to lobby lawmakers for stricter sentencing laws. They push policies that drive up incarceration rates, secure more contracts, and expand their facilities. The BOP, that is Bureau of Police, annual expenditures on contract prisons increased from approximately $562 million in fiscal year 2011 to $639 million in fiscal year 2014. So, where does this private prison concept come from? In 1997, to help alleviate overcrowding and respond to congressional mandates, the BOP began contracting with privately operated institutions, often referred to as contract prisons, at first on a smaller scale and later more extensively. Among many executive orders and actions that Trump has signed, one such action is reversing Biden's ban on private prison contracts. But this isn't surprising. For a decade, private prisons have been in a bit of an on again, off again situation with the DOJ. In 2016, the Obama administration planned to phase out the federal government's use of private prisons after an investigation that found private prisons were drastically more unsafe than public prisons. Research found that private prisons lack adequate correctional services and fail to save significant costs. Moreover, essential government-run education and training programs for prisoners were hard to replicate and outsource in the private sector. Then there were the staffing problems. To maximize profit, private prisons tend to cut costs by hiring fewer staff and paying lower wages. Consequently, violence rates surged in private prisons. A 2001 Department of Justice report found that inmate-on-inmate violence in private prisons were 38% higher than in public prisons. Other concerns in private prisons were contraband issues, inadequate medical care, improper use of solitary confinement. In 2025, with the Trump administration cracking down on undocumented immigrants, many are being sent to detention facilities run by private companies. This shift is being called mass incarceration 2.0. In the end, the business of incarceration raises a crucial question. When profit depends on keeping more people behind bars for a longer period of time, who really benefits? As the private prisons thrive, the debate over justice versus profit becomes more pressing than ever.